as purely as it does. To me, the thing that's most impressive, though, is his willingness and want to defend. And that's where he does a great job of blocking shots and containing guys one-on-one.
He seems to take it personally, and to your point, he made 8 threes coming out of the gates in his first summer league game. Pretty incredible stuff. And then we go Marvin Bagley, who was out just for about a week or so. Doesn't appear to be anything serious with that pelvic injury. But what have you seen from your guy? Because I love his demeanor.
Yeah, it's similar in the fact that they both want to be really good. Marvin wants to be good. We worked him out, did an individual workout, and I did it. And it was no beauty contest. I put him through some paces and made him pretty uncomfortable, and he wanted more, and he wanted, stripped it down. He's a good second jumper. He's got good hands. He can handle it. He can break the ball out and bring it up full court. So I think we're going to see, he should be a freshman in college, or could be a freshman in college. He reclassified.
Correct.
So a very young man with a bright future in front of him, and with all these young guys, we all want to fast forward them to be 24 years old right now, and that's just not the case.
All right. When you have young men, as you two do, of, I would say, a tender age, I'm the mother of a 26 and 24-year-old, so these guys are still young. What's the hardest part of trying to get these guys prepared for what you know is coming and what you know is a rigorous, grueling 82-game schedule?
I think it's patience. You know what I mean? Like David said, everybody wants to fast track and get somewhere quickly. And when you are, like Jaren's 18 years old, there's going to be some ups and downs. So you have to be able to fight through those ups and downs and try to keep an even demeanor as much as you possibly can, not get too high, not get too low, and expect the growth to be gradual and not just to be overnight.
I love that Mark Jones said something about no scrutiny for NBA head coaches. You two know differently about that. The other thing is there's incredible scrutiny and pressure from a lot of different directions for these young men. So how do you help them contend with that, Dave?
Pardon me?
How do you help them contend with those things that are outside of basketball? Because it is professional basketball, and it's to a certain extent on them.
Yeah, and to JB's point, that's what I was going to add was I think you got to be lock in step with your management that, hey, it's going to take a while. And I'm going to do some things. Last year with our younger guys, I tried to shorten the season a little bit. De'Aaron Fox and those guys, I didn't start him right, didn't give him the keys right away.
That's
so we try to protect him a little bit because it is 82 games is a long time. And you playing their 30 games that they play in college, we're done by Christmas. And then that mental knowing that you have 52 more. So there's an incredible amount of resources right now in all of our organizations to try to help our guys. And just to me and JB, we've talked about this for 20 years. It's the relationship that you have with the player, and that goes a long ways in the communication and how you work with each other.
Hey, JB, it's Mark Jones here. One for you. Dave just mentioned relationships, and I know when it comes to Memphis, your main engine there is Marc Gasol, and you have a relationship with him now for a couple of years going, and you recently made a trip to Barcelona to spend some time with him. Could you tell us about that and how that went?
It went quick, to be honest with you. I left Vegas on Saturday. I got to Barcelona on Sunday, and they had the Pau versus Marc charity game, and it was awesome. It was in Girona, and the arena was sold out. The game was televised. We had an opportunity to have dinner afterwards and just kind of, lay down a little bit of groundwork of where we see ourselves going forward and how we're going to move forward together. And then, by Monday, I was back on a plane here to Vegas. So it was a quick trip, but I think it was a valuable trip just to spend that time with them, and show the commitment to one another and to start to build that family atmosphere that we're looking for.
Well, I would ask you about relationships simply because you both are the products of men that you have considered to be mentors in your coaching career. I'd like you to start with your dad because that's a pretty special situation. Can you describe for us, JB, who has meant the most to you in coaching? And Dave, I'm going to follow up with you as well.
Yeah, I think, my dad stands out. As a kid growing up, there was nobody outside of my house I wanted to be more like. So everything that I did, I kind of modeled myself after him. And, he understood that, and he would bring us to practice and those types of things. And he would bring us to practice and those types of things. And, for us, we used to laugh like some kids had babysitters, but we had the gym. And, it was just awesome. Like, I knew I wanted to be a coach because I wanted to be like him. I watched the way that he treated people, not just the players, and he treated everybody the same. He treated everybody with the respect that he wanted to be treated with, and he was able to build relationships that have lasted a really long time.
Before you get to your mentors, the word relationship has come up a couple of times. How significant is a relationship between a head coach and the players he coaches? How significant is that in the NBA?
I think more so than I think maybe as we grew up and we started watching some guys in X and O and we steal each other's plays and stuff like that. I think it's far more important to be able to manage your team now, and that is done through building relationships with players and communicating on a daily basis, whether you're talking about fishing or basketball, you know.
Yeah.
So you have that ability to talk to them when you need to and grab their attention.
You know, I'm going to just have you touch on another player because I am so rooting for this young man to get healthy. Harry Giles, what are you seeing? What are you anticipating? What are you hoping for this young man?
Well, you just got to put your arms around him and love on him. Because,
Yes.
you know, he's got a charisma about him and a big smile. He's got huge hands, can really play at the elbows, I believe, can pass. He'll throw the ball into boxes that most shouldn't try, and he does. He can finish at the rim, working on his jump shot, and, you know, to play a couple of games in his freshman year, did not play last year for us. So there's a lot of rust there, a lot of timing, and find yourself as a player in the NBA, and it just takes time.
One of those processes that you certainly can't rush. I mean, because it's just about repetition, and there's nothing like live game action to get you that repetition. Quickly, JB, second-year players here. I think most of us think this is about the rookies. Second-year players, how valuable is this experience?
I mean, it's huge. You know, you give guys an opportunity who, you know, maybe on their team because we have some veteran players, their role now changes.
Yeah.
Now they become the guys who are in leadership roles. And everybody talks about player development, but player development is also a part of, you know, this growth, and leadership is a part of that as well.
We'll continue that theme. Thank you for that. On the other side, they'll be back. Come back with us.
Let's do this.
Let's do it.
Huh? Let's do
Yes.
this. Let's do this.
Okay.
Let's do this.
Let's do it.
Let's do this.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
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 I'm on a new level. I'm on a new level.
Give your head a Mountain Dew kickstart.
What a stunning variety of 6 meals in mint condition. Look at this new KFC Crispy Kernel Sandwich, the latest of KFC's $5 fill-ups. I reckon everything in this collection costs just $5 each. Congratulations! KFC, it's finger-licking good.
No. No. Cancel, please.
Being in the know is a good thing. That's why Discover will alert you if your social security number is found on any one of thousands of risky sites.
Summer wants you to slip out of the office and into a swimsuit. It wants bonfires that go way later than they should. Basically, if you're summering with a Corona in hand, you're doing it right. But don't take it from us. Take it from Summer.
Welcome back to MGM Resort Summer League, here with Dave Yeager and JB Bickerstaff. Here are their respective mentors, guys who they believe have shaped who they are as coaches. For Dave, it's Flip Saunders and Greg Popovich. For JB, Bernie Bickerstaff. We talked about his dad, Lionel Hollins, and Greg Popovich. Interesting you guys both have on your list a man considered by many to be one of the best to ever do it, Greg Popovich. Tell me about his influence on you, Dave.
Yeah, I think both of us have Lionel on there too, but I didn't get it on my side. I love Lionel Hollins to death. Great mentor for me. But Coach Popovich, always a guy, when I was in the minor leagues, would encourage me to come down and work free agent camp, be around this, be around that. That's where I got to know Sam Presti very well. And just have an appreciation of watching those guys work and the way their minds work, of setting a practice up where guys didn't understand what happened first, but they did it. That had something happened second, they didn't get it. And then when they go to the third thing, it has that aha moment to it.
Yes.
And it's this coach, you're just like, no, you didn't just do that. That is fantastic. And Flip was the same way in that, and both offensively and defensively.
Flip, one of the most popular men, and a great loss for the NBA, no question about that. JB, your thoughts on Greg Popovich?
My relationship is kind of funny. When I was 12 years old, he and R.C. Buford used to have a camp in Aspen. So he brought us up to his camp in Aspen, and so I've known him, you know, ever since then. So it's kind of funny now, you know, coaching against him and with him. So for me, it was at that age, I watched the same thing as how he treated people.
Yes.
And there's a priority in treating people the right way and not treating basketball players as objects, but as actual people and valuing them for that. And I think to me that's huge because it shows that, you know, that relationship, obviously, but guys are willing to do for you if you know that you care about them more than just the game of basketball.
They are people first. I think we view them as superhuman. Mark Jones, did you have a question?
Yeah, hey, JB, just curious, you know, with the beginning of the season really starting now with Summer League and getting a look at some of your guys, how has it been for you so far to be the head coach from the start and not being interim like it was in Houston or interim as it was last year in Memphis?
Well, I mean, it's awesome. You know, you actually have an opportunity to prepare yourself for what's ahead of you. You know, when you're the interim and you're kind of just thrown in the fire, you know, it's sink or swim at that moment. And now, you know, once you get the title, you get an opportunity to put a plan in place. You get an opportunity to think about that plan, you know, put a staff together, have conversations, have that dialogue, and then, you know, start to build your program. So I'm excited about the opportunity, and without the uncertainty of whether or not you're going to be back next year, you know, you can start to lay the foundation and how you're going to build your group.
You know, one of the other things I want to ask both of you guys, this is Coach Appreciation Day. Dave, when was the last time a player came into you and said, hey, Coach, you know, I really appreciate what you did for me this year or last year or whenever, and you made me better, you made me a better player, you made me a better man. Well, how often do those interactions happen with guys you coach?
You know, a guy like Zach Randolph is a guy who will do it. We've been together for, you know, 10 years now, I think, almost. And a lot of life happens in those 10 years. So there's always that. You know, yesterday was one of the players' moms. I think that to get something from one of the family members or one of our players is always very special because we care about them, certainly, as JB said, more as humans than we do as basketball players.
JB, how about yourself?
I mean, you know, these are, you know, the relationships, again, we talked about it over and over again, but just this year, for example, you know, Dylan Brooks, who I've spent a lot of time with, you know, we've had a lot of back and forth and trying to help him, but he walked up to my son, who's 4 years old now, and he tells my son, you got to call me Big Bro now. You know what I mean? So it's like, those are the type of relationships that we're building, and that's what makes this, you know, special and makes it so much fun.
I'm going to just touch on the game here briefly, just because Justin Jackson is doing great work. He's one of those second-year guys I talked about. What was the mandate to Justin? What are your staff saying to Justin? Hey, you got to think about X and Y.
Well, I think in general, you know, second-year guys, how they do in summer league their second year is a mindset. Some of them act like they don't want to be here, you know, and that's to be honest with you. And to take the right, it's a mental approach. He has done that. He's been fantastic. He's worked on his game, continue to get stronger and play with more force with the basketball, 1 or 2 dribbles. All right. Yeah, he's been great for us.
I really appreciate it. Such a pleasure to visit with both of you. We wish you the best. We'll see you in the season.
Thank you very much.
Come back on the other side for more basketball. What?
It's summer.
Summer is here!
The surest sign that summer has arrived. The summer can from Corona. Get it while you can.
Each day, Justin chooses to walk. At work and after work. He does it all with Dr. Scholl's. Only Dr. Scholl's has massaging gel insoles that provide all-day comfort to keep him feeling more energized. Dr. Scholl's, born to move.
The Lexus Performance line is tested the equivalent of up to 24 laps around the world. Experience an unrivaled feel for any road at the Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event. Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer.
When I was 7 or 8, every day I would dribble around the block.
Lloyd with it, feeding Brianna.
As I continued to grow offensively, I didn't want to just do one thing. I wanted to be able to do everything.
Stewart from 3. Oh, she is on fire.
That's how you bring yourself to another level. That's how you separate yourself from everybody else. Now it's time to bring the Storm back to where it used to be. I'm here to work.
Welcome back, everyone, to the MGM Resorts NBA Summer League. The Sacramento Kings leading the Memphis Grizzlies on Coach Appreciation Day here in Las Vegas. Day 5, the last day before we get to tournament play, as Goodwood out of Florida Gulf Course University knocks down the jump shot. The leading scorer in the game so far, Justin Jackson of the Sacramento Kings. He's got 9 points. And Doris, that was really insightful and a little bit fascinating to hear some of the perspectives of J.B. Bickerstaff and Dave Yeager of the Sacramento Kings on being appreciated by some of their players in the past, amongst other things.
No question. My favorite part was J.B. Bickerstaff sort of talking about the opportunity to take the reins from the, from a point in the season where he can actually put his own plan in place. And that's a better way for him to be evaluated. He's long been respected in this league, and now to have an opportunity to really put his stamp on it, to have a full training camp, to have these guys understand this is the style of play. These are my non-negotiables. And you know this about him. He's one of the great men in the league, so I'm so happy for him.
His father, as he mentioned, one of his mentors and a great influence on him, and really one of the great guys as part of the NBA family, Bernie Bickerstaff, longtime coach, going back to days with Washington Bullets and the Seattle Sonics. Kobe Simmons at the foul line for Memphis. Of course, when you talk about the Grizzlies and their potential success this year, Doris, it's about them being healthy. And it starts with Mike Conley's health. Conley only played 12 games last year, and things kind of went south after he didn't.
It's incredible to me that Mike Conley has never been an all-star. And you talk about the prototypical pass-first point guard, but with an ability to be efficient from three-point territory. Yeah, they are centered around 2 quality players, in Marc Gasol and Mike Conley, both of whom are excellent defenders, both of whom are committed to the program. We'll talk a little bit more about both guys on the other side, but Mike Conley getting healthier and healthier.
See? Oh, dude, are you friends with a real robot?
What? No, man. It's my service.
Oh, that's not awesome at all.
Maybe it's time for a switch.
Switch just like that.
Switch to Boost's super reliable and super fast nationwide network and get 3 lines for $100 a month, each with unlimited gigs, and 20 gigs of mobile hotspot on each line. Plus, get up to 3 free phones.
Much better.
There it is. Boost makes it easy to switch. Switching makes it easy to save.
Crab Fest is back at Red Lobster. Discover our largest variety of crab and crab dishes all year, like new Crab Fest Combo. Your one chance to have new jumbo snow crab with tender Dungeness crab. Or try Crab Lover's Dream, sweet, juicy king crab and jumbo snow crab cozied up with crab linguine Alfredo. Even our shrimp is crab-topped. So hurry in and get your Butter Dunkin' game on, because Crab Fest will be gone in a snap. And now bring home the seafood you crave with Red Lobster to go. Call or order online today.
Summer League action continues tonight in Las Vegas on ESPN2 as well as the ESPN app. The Los Angeles Lakers Knicks. That's at 8:30 Eastern time. And that's the new look of the Laker Nation. Lonzo and LeBron. 19. I know that guy on the top is going to be around doing a lot of big things. Lonzo Ball recovering from a knee injury right now. But we were talking about the Memphis Grizzlies before we left, and the prospective health of point guard Mike Conley, the guy that is the engine of that team in the backcourt, all-star type point guard, although he's never made a Western Conference all-star team, amongst the best at his position in the league, and they need him to stay healthy. Only played 12 games this year. Alvin Harrison came in and helped out when he was hurt.
And he told, I believe it was our Cassidy Hubbard, he said, the danger is they're holding me back, right? I'm ramping up what I'm doing physically, and they're trying to say, hey, we need to make sure your workload is not so high now so that you are more prepared as the season approaches.
Ivan Rabb with a nice spin move on the block.
Yeah, that's a nice looking move by Ivan Rabb.
Ivan Rabb, a guy looking for minutes, 6'10", good size.
No doubt, Mark. Very skilled on the block.
Already has 5 points in the ball game. It's been a couple of seasons now that Mike Conley has battled the injuries. Last year, of course, being the worst of it, as Devin Williams gets the bucket underneath for the Sacramento Kings. And of course, J.B. Bickerstaff talked about the other half of those important guys. The 1 and the 5. The 5, Marc Gasol, getting a chance to visit with Marc Gasol over in Spain. Back to Conley, though. You look at the litany, the procession of games that he missed the last, well, 4 years. You know, 12 not that bad, but when you start talking about missing, you know, 26 games, 70 games, that's going to make a dent in your success.
Remember the playoff year where he had that facial injury? That was brutal.
Yep. Off the steal, they got a 2-on-1. Goodwin, Simmons, the high flyer, couldn't finish. August out of Notre Dame takes a tumble. He'll go to the free throw line. Had 22 double-doubles as a senior at Notre Dame in 36 games. And there's the guy that Coach Yeager was talking about, especially on Coach Appreciation Day. Zach Randolph had a member of his family come up to Coach and say, man, we're really thankful for how things have gone with Zach in Sacramento, and even going back to Coach Yeager's time on the sidelines in Memphis. Zach, you know, tragically lost his brother this past season, so it was a very trying time for Zach, and Coach and other members of the NBA fraternity checking in to try and take the sting out of that tragedy.
I have enjoyed watching Zach Randolph play over the years. You think most closely associated with his grit and grind teammates in Memphis, and I think about the guy who's got basically, how would you describe his vertical?
A phone book?
Yeah, fair. Right.
You get maybe a phone book under there?
Right. But a little bit undersized, and yet has carved out over a decade's worth of basketball in the NBA because he's super skilled, savvy, understands how to play. When they were having their most success, they were playing a lot through Zach Randolph.
Folks, there are some people in the NBA that are fake tough guys, and then there are guys like Zach Randolph. In his own words, I don't bluff. Zach don't bluff. Goodwin from downtown. The 3 is short. And a nice rebound by Devin Williams, very active underneath for the Sacramento Kings. Sacramento leading by a pair with 25 seconds to go, about an 8-second difference between the shot clock and game clock. Sacramento still hasn't won a game here at Summer League. August off the mark. This is DJ Steffens up court, hands it off. They'll get a chance to run it down and get one. Kobe Simmons out top. Staring down Justin Jackson. Good help by Williams on the screen. And the bucket will count. They're going to review it by rule. But Kobe Simmons pulls from downtown and hits nothing but net.
Now, Kobe Simmons, they want him off the ball because they believe his natural position is a 2. Why? Because he wants to put the ball in the basket. Boy, it was pretty.
Summer wants you to slip out of the office and into a swimsuit. It wants bonfires that go way later than they should. Basically, if you're summering with a Corona in hand, you're doing it right. But don't take it from us. Take it from Summer.
It's 99-cent kids' nights at Golden Corral. Now, kids, eat and drink for just 99 cents. Under $1. Woo! It's prime time for family time. Come on now. Golden Corral. Your choice. Rule.
Is this AT&T Innovations? Yeah, wow. This must be for one of our new unlimited wireless plans. Comes with a ton of entertainment options. Great. Can you sign for this? Yeah. Hey, what's in that one? That's a shark.
New and only with AT&T, you can get unlimited data, 30-plus channels of live TV, and your choice of things like HBO or Pandora Premium. More for your thing. That's our thing. Visit att.com.
We know baseball is your thing, so get more all season long with MLB Extra Innings on DirecTV. That's more for your never miss a moment of the action thing. Your watch your favorite teams and players no matter where you live thing. And your live game streaming on your favorite devices with MLB.tv included thing. Because bringing you every milestone and miracle on the screen of your choice, that's our thing. Order MLB Extra Innings on DirecTV.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Thomas & Mack Center. Las Vegas, a moment at that shot by Kobe Simmons at the end of the shot clock. You could tell it was still in his hand, so they will negate the bucket. Sacramento, meanwhile, with the 2-point lead. Just underway here in the second quarter. Mark Jones chopping it up courtside with Doris Burke on Coach Appreciation Day here at Summer League. Javon Carter with the foul line jumper is good. This coach, of course, Bob Huggins at West Virginia University. A monument to tough love, as a lot of coaches are, Doris.
And tough defense, which is what defines Mr. Carter. A defensive play here gets them an easy bucket.
Kobe Simmons play for Sean Miller at Arizona.
It's a nice job anticipating the pass. Very good hands by Simmons, and uses his speed to get out.
5 points for Kobe Simmons. Nice little mid-range game there by Matt Jones, undrafted a year ago out of Duke. So, Doris, we got to count up the Duke and the Kansas guys here.
It's unbelievable.
And Kentucky.
Yes.
We heard Bill Self say there were some 11 players that he came to visit here in Las Vegas. Ivan Rabb back out to Carter. Carter a little bit strong. Kings on a break here, knocked out of bounds. It'll stay Sacramento basketball. Sacramento Kings had tendered an offer sheet to Zach LaVine of the Chicago Bulls, and the Bulls matching a couple of days ago. So Sacramento potentially turning their efforts towards trying to get another wing player. But that's a team with a lot of good young talent moving forward. Jones with another bucket, another mid-range shot. He's got 4 quick ones. Had a chance to see De'Aaron Fox a little bit earlier in Summer League play up in Sacramento. Simmons, meanwhile, with the bucket. And we are tied at 27. On the shot clock. The defense by Deontay Davis. He corrals the rebound. Simmons with the mid-range jumper. And Davis hacked underneath by Devin Williams. Deontay Davis going to go to the free throw line. Hey, Summer League tournament begins tomorrow. The tournament style format begins on NBA TV, ESPNU, ESPN2, as well as the ESPN app. Tomorrow 4 o'clock, NBA TV 4:30, ESPN2 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Eastern time. And Marvin Bagley not playing today. Had an MRI this morning, which determined he had a hip and a groin injury that was going to keep him out between 1 and 2 weeks. So they're going to shut him down for the remaining part of this MGM Grand at Las Vegas Summer League. And Jaren Jackson Jr. also getting a breather today. He had played some 5 games in the last 7 days. So today his opportunity to get a little bit of a rest. Wayne Selden, Ivan Rabb in action today. They rested the last game that Memphis played. Memphis 1-1 so far. Jones from the corner, and he's suddenly found the hot hand. Matt Jones out of Duke with the 3 ball, and he's got 7. Carter off the screen. There's Selden from deep. Now Wayne Selden, an interesting story as Carter misses from point blank range. Rabb hustling underneath, but he turns it over. Selden, the guy that started in the playoffs the year before last. A late signing by the Grizzlies late in the regular season. He was a key part of Memphis's late season run a couple of years ago. That foul against Deontay Davis. It's a big summer for Deontay Davis. Going into his 3rd year out of Michigan State. Davis, a guy that had an opportunity to learn under Vince Carter, actually in his tutelage a couple of years ago when Vince was in Memphis, to the point where he literally took the rookie at the time under his wing. Vince Carter had a spare room in his home in Memphis, said, Rook, you're going to come and live with me and stay with me for a few weeks, and I'm going to let you know what the deal is here in the NBA. Vince Carter, at 40 years old, still playing and active in the league. Here's Carter, a little two-man game. Offered across court, 4 on the clock. DJ Steffens a little bit strong, and a 5-point lead for Sacramento. Reynolds, straight line drive. Here's DJ Steffens. Selden tried to draw the foul and does. And Doris Burke on Coach Appreciation Day, standing by with the head coach of the Portland Trail Blazers, Terry Stotts.
There's only 30 of these guys, Mark, and we've had 2, and now we welcome in Terry Stotts, and it's Coach's Appreciation Day. And I'm just curious, your mentors. You've been in the NBA for a long time. You and I shared a very special moment, the very first game I ever did. You were the assistant for Milwaukee. I was calling the Knicks game. You had the scout, so they set me up with you. I've always appreciated how kind you were to me. But who have your coaching mentors been, Terry?
Well, I'd have to start with my father. You know, he was a high school basketball coach in Illinois, Iowa, and Wisconsin, and the University of Guam. So he was my first coaching influence. And you know, other than that, you know, obviously being with George Karl for as long as I was as a player and as an assistant coach. So those were probably my 2 primary mentors in the coaching profession. But more collegial was Rick Carlisle. You know, being an assistant for Rick in Dallas after I'd been a head coach, we were more peers, but at the same time, he was very influential for me.
He's been actually quite kind to me as I have trying to work my way through. I've always appreciated how supportive Rick Carlisle has been, always considered one of the outstanding X and O coaches in the league. Summer League, as you're watching this young talent, how many teams besides your own are you able to take in?
You know, as big as this has gotten, it's really difficult to take a lot in. And part of it is now that all these games are televised, I can actually go back to my hotel room and take them in rather than having to be in the gym. But it's such a good event and good for the players, the coaches, the fans. I mean, it's really turned into something special.
Mark, I'm going to let you just take over a little play-by-play.
Okay, Terry Stotts joining us as the Grizzlies trying to cut into this 5-point lead. Coach Stotts with a fantastic backcourt there. Dame Lillard and C.J. McCollum. Coach Stotts going to hang around. We'll get back to him on the other side of this. Under 5 to go in the first half.
Nothing gets a family's full attention like my freshly prepared chicken. The delicious KFC $20 fill-up with 8 pieces of extra crispy chicken and sides will surely get your kids off their phones. And they may even look at you, their loving parent. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Every time a Friday feels like a family reunion, a Corona gets its lime. Every time your work friends and your friends become friends. And every time it's like you're the only people on earth, a Corona gets its lime.
Hey, babe.
Boom.
Where are you, Slowpoke?
Right behind you.
Play just got serious in the all-new Toyota Avalon.
The 2018 T-Mobile Home Run Derby, Monday at 8 on ESPN.
And the ESPY goes to...
Celebrate the year's greatest moments in sports and the heroes behind them. Danica Patrick hosts the ESPYs, live July 18th on ABC.
Terry Stotts doing a fabulous job with the Portland Trail Blazers over the last 6 years. And he has one of the most dynamic backcourts Doris Burke, when you talk about Lillard and McCollum, and Yusuf Nurkic back in the fold now, right? Good news, Terry.
Yeah, it is. You know, our starting lineup's back intact. It's good to have Nurk back. He anchored our defense, was able to help us inside, and you know, it all kind of starts with Damian and CJ.
I love watching those two guards play. Can you guess, I mean, aside from the skill set, describe what those two men are like for you to coach?
They make my job easier. You know, the way the game is today, you know, their talent speaks for themselves, but the way they are as men, as leaders of their team, they're very professional. Practices are competitive, and we usually get something done. It just, when you have those are your best two players, it makes it easier down the line to get things done.
You also have an outstanding rookie who I just thoroughly loved. You see the dominance of Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum on a nightly basis, but you do need other pieces around them. You mentioned Yusuf Nurkic. Tell me about Zach Collins and what you believe his ceiling could be, both offensively and defensively.
Well, you know, Zach played probably a lot more than we expected him last year. You know, he didn't play much up until December, got an opportunity and really earned his minutes on the court last year. And you know, I'm not one for the expression put the ceiling, because I don't like putting ceilings or limits on players, but he has already great defensive instincts as a young big man. He's 20 years old. Offensively, he's going to continue to grow and find his niche. He'll expand his outside game, he'll expand his inside game. Last season, he was more an opportunistic scorer. I think more and more you'll see him take advantage of more different opportunities.
A guy who's performed well at Summer League, at least part of the things that I've seen, is Jake Lehman. Your expectations for him now that he's sort of a little bit older and had an opportunity to be in your system for a bit?
Well, you know, Jake's going into his third year, and the third year for some of our second-round picks like Alan Crabb and Pat Connaughton, they've kind of had a breakout. The opportunity has been there, and the opportunity is going to be there for Jake to earn some minutes this year. He's put together a couple good games here in Summer League. He shot the three well. He's very athletic, as people already know.
Yeah.
But like a lot of young players, his challenge is consistency, and it's difficult to get that when you're not getting consistent minutes or consistent opportunity.
Hey, Terry, Mark Jones, just one thing on Coach Appreciation Day. I know you waited a long time to finally get your head coaching spot in your job, Atlanta, Milwaukee, and now here in Portland. What were some of the priceless or invaluable things that you learned in that time that you were an assistant coach and ambitioning your opportunity as a head coach?
Well, you know, apprenticeship, I think, no matter what the profession, serves a purpose. And like I said, being with George Karl for 10 years, that was my foundation. I learned a lot with him, and my first two opportunities in Atlanta and Milwaukee, that was my foundation, that was my basis. I've always said, as great as that experience was, being able to be with Rick Carlisle for another 4 years, win a championship, seeing a different way of doing things really expanded my horizons as an assistant. And going into this job in Portland, it gave me a different perspective as opposed to what I had in Atlanta and in Milwaukee.
Go ahead, Mark.
How would you characterize yourself being a better coach now than you were maybe when you walked into the office day one, your first head coaching job in Atlanta?
You know, probably a little more secure in what I want to accomplish as a coach and how I want to go about coaching. You know, you go into it with certain ideas. As I said, having been a head coach a couple times before and being with Rick in Dallas just expanded my horizons, so that when I came into now, I knew what I wanted to get done in Portland. I think I communicated better with players. And I think we're going to a break.
We are. He's a TV professional, but we're going to continue this theme of confidence coming back, if you don't mind, because it's an important one. We talk about it with players. We're going to talk about coaching confidence when we come back.
Gatorade, with carbs to help fuel your muscles and help you make the leap to the next level. Studied, tested, proven. Nothing beats Gatorade.
Summer wants you to slip out of the office and into a swimsuit. It wants bonfires that go way later than they should. Basically, if you're summering with a Corona in hand, you're doing it right. But don't take it from us. Take it from Summer.
Some believe if it's not German, it's not luxury performance. So we brought these Infiniti SUVs to Germany with American families to drive them.
This track is only for German luxury auto, not for family or SUV.
VC Turbo. It's like 2 engines in one. How did Germany not do that first?
Keine Kinder auf der Strecke.
The Infiniti family of SUVs. There's nothing traditional about it. Let your new legacy begin at the Infiniti Summer Sales Event. Infiniti. Empower the drive.
Coppertone Sport. Proven to protect street skaters and freestylers. Stops up to 97% UV. Lasts through heat, through sweat. Coppertone. Proven to protect.
Well, to me, these numbers are nothing short of incredible. The consistency over the last 3 seasons for these two bright young guards, Damian Lillard and C.J. McCollum, and we are so thrilled to be joined by their head coach, Terry Stotts. We were talking about this as we went away to break. It's such a fascinating conversation. We always talk, Terry, about player confidence and how critical it is. As a basketball coach of the best players in the world, what role does confidence play in your job?
Well, I think it's probably the first thing to talk about is that you have to project confidence. Whether you feel it or not, that's another story. But you have to project the confidence so that your players believe in you, your assistant coaches believe in you, and then it goes from there. This league is about respect, and when the players have respect for you and believe in what you're doing, the buy-in is important, and then that gives you a basis, a foundation to build on. Right. But you're doing that every day. It's an everyday job. Every time you go on that practice court, you go in that meeting, you're proving yourself.
It's just such an interesting concept. It was something that Jeff Van Gundy and Mike D'Antoni had discussed in a game that we had earlier with Houston, and as you say, you know, it's interesting. You've got to have a plan that your players believe in. I remember Gino Auriemma one time saying to me, I don't have all the answers, but when I walk to that sideline with a clipboard in hand, I'm going to make my players believe I know, and that's significant. So. No,
I totally understand that, and sometimes you have to have the answers, even if it's the wrong one. You got to have an answer.
Right. Well, listen, hey Terry, it was an absolute pleasure to catch up with you. We look forward to seeing more of your backcourt and you in the regular season.
Doris, thank you. Mark, thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Terry. Appreciate you.
Yep.
39-35 for Sacramento head coach Terry Stotts of the Portland Trailblazers. Had a very successful season there up in the Great Northwest and eliminated in the first round by the New Orleans Pelicans. But Terry has a lot of offensive firepower on that squad, especially in the backcourt. And good news, as I mentioned, Yusuf Nurkic back in the fold, signing a free agent deal, which will keep him in Portland for the next several years. Justin Jackson continues to cook. He has had a huge night, 14 points so far. Remember, he had 28. Big game against the Clippers on Sunday on 10-19 from the field. Former ACC Player of the Year, leading the Tar Heels to the national title. 14 points so far in this game, scoring in so many different ways. Played in 68 games for Sacramento last year for the Kings as a rookie. Kings in the middle of an 8-0 run. They lead it by 7, under a minute to go here. And off the turnover, Kings and Wayne Selden. I'm wondering what someone said to Wayne Selden. Wow. Well, he looks healthy. He missed 44 games with a quad and a knee injury last year. Showing great lift. Speaking of lift, big time rebound there by Brown. Kings pounding the board, come away empty though. Javon Carter up court, about a 5-second difference between the shot. Game clock didn't matter. Ivan Rabb with the layup underneath. And a nice dime by Carter. This is what I love about Carter. He likes to stare down opposing guards and pick them up at the opponent's free throw line.
He will get in your grill, won't he?
He got that full Pat Beverly thing going.
He does.
10 seconds to go. Mason. Ref calling. Mason called for it, wouldn't get the foul. Simmons, Selden with the follow with 0.6 to go in the first half. And the Kings will go to the locker room with a 3-point lead. Justin Jackson, 15 points on 6 of 8 from the field. Second half coming up right after this.
Before you can achieve a higher standard of craftsmanship, you need a higher standard of craftsman. See for yourself at the Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event. Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer.
Now get 50% off all Domino's pizzas when you order online. 50% off sausage pizzas, handmade pan pizzas, even barbecue banana pepper pizzas. If you're into that, this week only get 50% off the menu price of 34 million pizza combinations at Domino's.com.
I wanted to make Angry Orchard Rosé out of my love for rosé wine. We came here to France and found these red-fleshed apples. Our rosé is a little bit less sweet. It has a bright, refreshing taste and a pink rosé hue.
I love the fabric. I just wish it was this color with that lining.
When off the rack doesn't cut it, you need to go with a custom-made suit.
How much is this?
Less than you think.
Now at Men's Warehouse, choose your fabric, lining, and style, while our master tailors measure you for a custom-made suit.
You're gonna like the way you look in custom.
The championships, Wimbledon, on the ESPN app. Stream every point from every match. Download the ESPN app today.
From the time I was like 9 years old until I was probably 14, the majority of that time was spent in an orthodontist office, which is the most awkward point of anyone's life to begin with. I was right out of college and I was starting job interviews and meeting a bunch of new people, and I already noticed that my teeth were starting to shift. My parents spent all that money and it was kind of all for a waste. So when I heard of Smile Direct, I was so excited.
At Smile Direct Club, we believe everyone deserves a smile they'll love. That's why for 60% less than braces, we send invisible aligners directly to you. We straighten most smiles in an average of 6 months.
I was so excited to know that there was a company that was #1 affordable and #2 so convenient. You don't have to go to an orthodontist every month. You can go into a Smile shop. They also have a kit that they can ship directly to your house. There's really no excuse to not try it.
Get your confidence back risk-free. Our Smile Guarantee ensures that if aligners aren't a good fit for you, you get your money back.
Having straight teeth is such a great feeling.
Get started at SmileDirectClub.com for as low as $80 a month.
Welcome back to Las Vegas, the Desert MGM Resorts NBA Summer League. Kings up 42-39. So on Coaches Appreciation Day, I thought I'd give you a look at my Mount Rushmore of coaching, and I'm talking specifically about basketball coaches from the NBA. Of course, the great Greg Popovich, a 5-time NBA champion, and our next Olympic coach. You can't leave out an 11-time NBA champion in Phil Jackson. It has been my great privilege to cover Gino Auriemma, the all-time winner with 11 NCAA championships, 3 Olympic golds, and then, of course, Mike Krzyzewski, 5-time NCAA champion, 3-time Olympic gold medalist. My privilege to have covered Coach K. Think about 1,100 wins, and earlier during Summer League, I had a chance to talk to 2 of his players, Marvin Bagley and Grayson Allen, to talk about how much they appreciate their former college coach. So, guys, we're doing a little coaches appreciation, and I am a huge Mike Krzyzewski fan because when I first started covering college basketball, he was great to me. Took me in, but I have to say, like, the first time I met him, I was intimidated. So I'm curious, like, the first time you met Coach K, was there any nerves?
Definitely, yeah.
For me, it was because I was just seeing him like coaching the USA team and like just being successful on TV all the time. And when I went on my visit, and when I saw him walk in, it was like, I was like, oh snap, like, this is really Coach, like, it's Coach K right here. But like, once you get to talk to him and know him and be around him, it's like, you know, it's not just a coach. He's like a friend to you. He can, you know, he helps you out a lot. You know, he's gonna help you get better.
He helps calm the nerves a lot at first by being funny. Because he'll joke around with you a lot at first.
He knows he's scary.
Yeah, before he gets to yelling at you on the court, he likes to joke around with you and kind of build that relationship.
You had the longest relationship, and it seemed to me, and it's just somebody observing from afar, but there was a real closeness there. How would you describe your relationship with him?
It was like a family bond. You know, he's a coach at first, and he builds a relationship, becomes your friend, and then he mentored me, and he mentors everyone so much through a lot of stuff on and off the court that he becomes like almost like a father to his players, and that's when we call it the brotherhood. Like we're all brothers coming through it, and guys that played 20 years ago and the guys that are freshmen now, we're all brothers. And I talked to him a lot going through the pre-draft process, working out. When I was leading up to the draft, because he knows we're very anxious and nervous, and so he was giving me a lot of advice, you know, some feedback he had heard, and I still talk to him even after all the summer league games I played so far. He's given me a little advice here and there, and he's great.
I talked to him the other day too after one of my games. It wasn't a good game. He was trying to still encourage me and still kind of pick me up and tell me things. Like he was still coaching me, and that's something that I appreciate.
He's the best. I love Coach Jay.
I love Coach too.
We wish you the best in Summer League. We'll see you when the regular season kicks around. I can't wait. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Thank you.
It's summer.
Summer is here!
The surest sign that summer has arrived. The summer can from Corona. Get it while you can.
Nothing gets a family's full attention like my freshly prepared chicken. The delicious KFC $20 fill-up with 8 pieces of extra crispy chicken and sides will surely get your kids off their phones. And they may even look at you, their loving parent. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Fruits and veggies are essential to your health, but it's tough to get enough of their nutrients. New One A Day with Nature's Medley is the only complete multivitamin with antioxidants from one total serving of fruits and veggies. Try New One A Day with Nature's Medley.
Celebrate the 2018 NBA champion Golden State Warriors with official championship gear at NBAstore.com. Shop the championship collection, including locker room merchandise and much more.
It's over! It's over! What a finish!
Get the official hat, t-shirt, and towel the Warriors wore during their on-court celebration. And pick up the NBA Finals commemorative film. Visit NBAstore.com now.
I am the DQ Summer Blizzard menu. With flavors like Twix and cotton candy, I am one reason summer nights were invented. The other reason? Convertibles. Because I'm not fast food. I am fan food.
Anybody that tells you that they don't want a full head of hair is lying.
It was like really thinning out on the top. I was like, here we go.
Once Hims came along, I realized that doesn't have to happen to me.
It's an easy, fast, and inexpensive way to keep hair.
It was really comforting to have a doctor make me feel really confident that this was a product I should be using.
What you get from Hims is definitely worth the price.
I'm no longer going bald, yay!
I am the DQ Summer Blizzard menu. With flavors like Twix and cotton candy, I am one reason summer nights were invented. The other reason? Convertibles. Because I'm not fast food. I am fan food.
Welcome back, everyone, to the MGM Resorts NBA Summer League 2018 edition. And a radiant sky outside and inside the Thomas & Mack Center, getting ready for the third quarter here on Coaches Appreciation Day at Summer League as we listen to the sideline bosses here.
Come on, same defense. Hey, let's get a stop right out here. Here we go. Defense, let's get a stop.
All right, take a deep breath. We're going to start over here, okay? Listen. Come on, guys, we got to get up, right? We got to get up. All right, come on, get up.
Let's get a good stop right here coming out.
Let's get feisty down here. More tough, all right? Hey, listen, stay focused, all right? We're executing pretty well.
Defense and toughness, Mark Jones. Was your game predicated on both those things?
I like to get into people. Guys who can't shoot have to do that, you know what I mean?
What a have for Justin Jackson. 15 points, really efficient. It goes to what Dave Yeager was telling us when he visited. As you see Larry Lewis, the head coach for Sacramento for the Summer League. It's about attitude if you're a second-year player. And you're seeing great attitude from Justin Jackson. We'll have the Lakers later. What a great attitude and great leadership from Josh Hart for the Lakers.
Yes, the last thing that you want a coach saying about you, Doris, is that you look like you don't want to be here.
Yeah, exactly.
Which was, you know, Dave Yeager remarked that some guys, unfortunately, had that kind of disposition. This is a Summer League where second-year players, guys going into their third years, are trying to make their mark and do some things to establish themselves. Guys like that one, Ivan Rabb out of Cal, 35th pick a season ago, second-year player coming up. Justin Jackson with a nice drive. Man, he
make that
continues
17.
to cook.
He's cooking. Really decisive on the catch.
Lead back up to 5. Here's the Grizzlies' two-way player, Kobe Simmons. Got by Giles. And Rab again inside with the tip. You know, between Rab, Doris, and Deontay Davis, there could be a battle for minutes there with Memphis. Deontay Davis, another guy that's going into his, he's a third-year pro. He's battling for a job in some rotation minutes.
Right, and for this organization, they're talking about, you know, Rab's a guy who's behind Marc Gasol, who's been such a foundational piece. But is his frame starting to fill out a little bit? They know he's skilled on the block. They want to know, can he shoot it a little bit?
Simmons with the hammer pass. Rab inside. Missed it with the offhand that time. And Jackson again. Gabriel from outside. Got it.
Talking about Kentucky products, there's yet another one. He's got the perfect NBA frame, boy.
Mason down in the stance. As Carter got the call from the sideline from Greg Buckner, they're going to punch it inside to Rab. A little step back was short. Mason in a rush and drew the foul.
You're talking about the second-year players. If you're looking at Sacramento, you know Frank Mason. We talked about Kansas products. Here's one of them. This guy was one of the great college players a couple of years ago, and then Justin Jackson out of North Carolina. That was his 17th point. Boy, how long his strides are. Decisive move off the dribble.
Justin Jackson putting up some good numbers here. He's a guy that had 28 points Sunday against the Clippers on a very efficient 10 of 19 from the field. Played 68 games, 41 starts for the Kings as a rookie. And the guy we haven't talked about much, Harry Giles. You know, that's like getting a free lottery pick this year. Didn't play it all last year because of an injury. And another guy to help add to their wing depth.
Reality is, Mark, it's been such a long time in general. You think back to his Duke 1 year at Duke. You know, 26 games, but only 11 minutes. He missed the first 10 or 11 games for them. But there's talent there. This is another guy that was referenced by Dave Yeager, and just got to stay healthy, get repetition, get comfortable.
Here he is with the ball, and a sweeping-looking, impressive hook shot, Doris Burke, in the lane from Giles, who we were just talking about. You know, the thing about Giles, I've spoken with some of the coaches on the staff for Sacramento. Not just the talent and the skill, but he has a very dogmatic, very assertive type of personality. You never have enough of those guys.
Now that's an almost impossible move to check, because watch it where the ball is going to be released from. It's so far away from the defense. That is beautifully done.
Giles so far in summer league play just under 13 a game on 48% shooting from the field. This is the last day of the initial round. They'll go into tournament play beginning tomorrow. Teams guaranteed at least 5 games. Giles, nice chip, didn't go though by Gabriel. Gabriel bodying up on Lee out front, 10 on the clock. Crawford's jumper is no good.
What a nice defensive sequence by Gabriel, right? Switches, handles the switch, challenges the shot.
Jackson a little bit strong. Goodwin with the Euro step. Steffens tried to follow. Goodwin on the baseline and one. All good for Brandon Goodwin out of Florida Gulf Coast University.
Well, you worry only with size, but I'll tell you what, speed is not an issue. The show and go, nobody in defensive help.
9 points for Goodwin. For those of you that are geographically challenged, Florida Gulf Coast University on the other side of Alligator Alley. I-75 right direct across from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And he had a really good year there for Coach Dooley.
What is Alligator Alley, my Floridian friend?
Well, it's like this, Doris. Where I live, there's swamp on one side and swamp on the other side. In the middle, that's Alligator Alley. It's Interstate 75 that takes you from the east side of Florida to the other side of the peninsula.
And don't leave the highway, in other words.
Exactly. Exactly. Those alligators don't play. And Jackson going to go back to the free throw line. Tell you what, he's got the Grizzlies looking like alligator bait on the other side.
It's 99-cent kids' nights at Golden Corral. Now kids eat and drink for just 99 cents, under $1. Woo! It's prime time for family time. Come on now. Golden Corral. Your choice, rules. What?
Use Old Spice.
She knows best.
Experience the versatility of utility. With a range of SUVs perfect for any adventure at the Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event. Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer.
Summer wants you to slip out of the office and into a swimsuit. It wants bonfires that go way later than they should. Basically, if you're summering with a Corona in hand, you're doing it right. But don't take it from us, take it from Summer.
Sometimes news breaks while we're on the air, so we came up with a new way to let anchors know what's going on.
To the ninth inning we go. St. Louis up 3-2, and the Cardinals get the W.
It's a great way to report up-to-the-minute news without interrupting the show.
Breaking news just in, huge NBA trade. The Warriors add another pitcher?
We still have some kinks to work out, but once we get it down, smooth sailing.
I'm not going to say who, but someone on our staff likes acronyms. So
Spell it out for me,
Yeah,
Doris.
Coach, you got to be calm, right? The Zen master. You got to, as Terry Stotts told us, be under control. Greg Popovich has talked about being open-minded. Manu Ginobili forced him to change a little bit as a coach. Be available to your players. We were talking earlier with coaches about the importance of relationships. Collective thinking, boy, are Steve Kerr and Bob Myers on the same page. Listen, don't forget the H, man.
For
high standards.
Okay. You know, I like the whole open-mindedness of things as, you know, we look at Bob Myers over our shoulder. You know, one of the signatures, one of the real trademarks of the San Antonio Spurs organization is the inclusiveness of Greg Popovich from the top on down. He'll take suggestions from assistants, video coordinators, a lot of different areas to get a different vibe and a different perspective from things, and it really kind of underscores, you know, why they're successful.
How valuable that is. I'll give you a great example in the most critical time in the NBA Finals. Remember the suggestion from the coach who was on like the third line for Golden State, who decided that maybe Andre Iguodala should start, check LeBron James. He ends up to go on and play MVP, gives us the first look at the depth lineup.
Yeah. Turned out to be a great suggestion, right?
I'm open to any kind of advice, Mark Jones, except about my cooking, because I don't need any. Unless it's coming from the Barefoot Contessa.
We're not talking about takeout either, right? 12-point Sacramento lead. Stephens. Memphis Grizzlies trailing right now by 12, but we got to look at that staff that's been assembled by J.B. Bickerstaff. As Stephens comes up court, the bucket good by Sacramento, 14-point lead. The Grizzlies dismissed David Fizdale some 18 games into the regular season. Bickerstaff took over as the interim head coach and got the full-time job in July. Whistling a foul. Oh, man, he has really put together a great staff. There's Buckner standing up, who's the head coach. Vitaly Potapenko at the end. Nick Van Exel. Chad Forcier, who has coached a lot with George Karl, former member of the San Antonio Spurs staff for several of their NBA championships. And Jerry Stackhouse in the back there. He led the Toronto Raptors G League affiliate, Raptors 905, to a G League championship the year before this past season. He has a very young, dynamic staff that can get out there and actually demonstrate and do a bunch of things on the floor for this team.
It's a great point, Mark, and I'm going to just go back to the Eastern Conference Finals when Ty Lue, you know, they end up wrapping up that championship, and he made a point. I'm so glad you acknowledge Stack and all the rest of the assistants, because they play a critical role in the success of an organization. Ty Lue went down every single coach after they won the Eastern Conference Championship for the 4th time, saying how critical this kind of staff is. And you can't make a mistake here, Mark. Every position has got to contribute.
Potapenko coming over from the Cleveland Cavaliers just recently. On this Coaches Appreciation Day, the 5th day of NBA Summer League, Sacramento Kings leading by 14 points. Mike Bibby back there. Mike Bibby could also be not just an assistant coach, but the strength coach.
He looks like it.
Mike has been throwing some iron plates up, the big ones too.
I'm going to challenge you to look like Mike Bibby before our first game of the NBA season.
I'll be in the
QB Brown won't know who he's sitting next to.
Selden off the mark. And back the other way.
Talk about great coaches, and you want to talk about a guy who's probably influenced more generations of basketball people on this continent and every other one. I bet you'd be hard-pressed to find a man who has influenced more basketball people than Hubie Brown.
Yeah, when you look at the number of international clinics he's done and spreading the gospel and the good word of basketball over the years. Amen to that, Doris Burke. Ball knocked out of bounds. Good hustle by Rab. Ivan Rab with some fantastic hustle. Waiting for the call still. And Jeff Steyer, our cameraman, getting a nicely focused shot. I mean, Rab really came into focus there.
Oh, my goodness. Hey, listen, that's Shane got it last time. He got it 2 days ago.
Need some shoulder pads down there.
All I know is we got some pretty tough guys, because they just get right back up and start focusing again.
16-point lead, 3:08 to go. Rab on the baseline. Back out to Kobe Simmons, the two-way contract player for the Grizzlies last year. A little bit strong on the jump shot. Brady Heslop in the ball game for Memphis. And a nice strong move to the bucket by Zach August of Notre Dame. Posted 22 double-doubles as a senior for the Irish. Played with Panathinaikos in Greece a couple of years ago. Time under the floor on Coach Appreciation Day. Which coach, you ask, has made the most NBA playoff appearances? He's going to be joining us in just a second.
Good tease.
I am the DQ Summer Blizzard menu. With flavors like Twix and cotton candy, I am one reason summer nights were invented. The other reason? Convertibles. Because I'm not fast food. I am fan food.
Let me tell you something, Mean Gene. I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna leave it all on the mat, because that's what I do when I get it done so I can do it. Yeah! I'm on a new level. I'm on a new level. Give your head a Mountain Dew kickstart.
Every time a Friday feels like a family reunion, a Corona gets its lime. Every time your work friends and your friends become friends. And every time it's like you're the only people on earth, a Corona gets its lime.
Each day, Justin chooses to walk. At work and after work. He does it all with Dr. Scholl's. Only Dr. Scholl's has massaging gel insoles that provide all-day comfort to keep him feeling more energized. Dr. Scholl's, born to move.
And the ESPY goes to...
Celebrate the year's greatest moments in sports and the heroes behind them. Danica Patrick hosts the ESPYs, live July 18th on ABC.
The 2018 T-Mobile Home Run Derby, Monday at 8 on ESPN.
This copyrighted broadcast of the National Basketball Association may not be retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise distributed or used in any form without the express written consent of the NBA.
A look at the luminaries of the NBA coaching fraternity: Wilkins, Sloan, Nelson, Jackson, and George Karl at our table right now. Got to look from up top on Skycam. George, thanks a lot for joining us, man. Good to see you. Good to see you hanging out in Summer League with us. So you're a former of the family. You don't get an appearance on this one. You don't get a click for this at ESPN. I just want to let you know. Hey, on Coach Appreciation Day, tell us who were some of your mentors coming up. I know you're sporting the Carolina Blues, so I'm guessing Dean Smith is right near the top of the list, obviously.
I mean, when I was young, Coach Smith and I probably talked every other day. But I think all the Carolina guys, Coach Guthridge is a guy that we'll always remember. My first kind of coaching assignment was with Larry Brown and Doug Noe in a USA team that went to Russia the first year out of college. I played, and we played after. I remember that we lost the Olympics in '72.
We remember.
And we went back to Russia in '73 and played 6 games in Russia.
How many did you beat them?
4. Okay. They beat us twice.
Did we have clock issues again in the other 2?
We actually had some bad refereeing in St. Petersburg. So.
And you still won 4-6.
Yeah, we won 4-6, and that was my first time of practice plans and figuring out what you do in practice and assignments and responsibilities. And now, you know, that was 40, almost 50 years ago, and now it's so dynamic what a coach does in the NBA today, and the information we have, and the sources that we have, and the amount of money we have to pay for coaches and trainers and whatever. So it's been fun being a part of the evolution of coaching.
It's such an analytics-driven league now. Were you into analytics on the forefront, or did you embrace it when it came your way, or what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, when I went into it, it was just statistics. It was statistics. It's now analytics. Yeah. It's information. I mean, but the analytics is no question that there's. I've always felt if your head and your heart meet what's on the analytics sheet, then you better pay a lot of attention to it. Right. I think sometimes when there's conflict, I think there's still some, smoothing the analytics out. But there's no question it's advancing, getting more important, more prevalent.
Right.
And coaches are going to use it more and more.
So Kobe Karl, your son, is on the bench with the Los Angeles Lakers as a coach. You never tried to talk him out of coaching? He just followed his heart? What was it?
Well, I always thought he played basketball like a coach. And so, he was called to coach his son.
Right.
By many coaches in college. And, Kobe overcame a lot. Kobe wasn't highly recruited by Division I schools. I think he was only recruited by 2 or 3 schools.
Played at Boise State.
And he chose Boise State. He actually had the red shirt, which was great because he grew 3 inches and put on 30 pounds.
Wow.
And, out of high school, Kobe was 6'1", 150. And now he's 6'5", 210. So, but it was really good. And his evolution is great. He had a year with Kobe, a half a year with LeBron. He played with Carmelo a little bit in Denver, so he's had a lot of experience, and he's using it in his coaching today.
Joined by George Karl, former head coach, and coming up next we'll have the Lakers and the Knicks wrapping up today's play. It's streaming live on the ESPN app, so you can watch it anywhere. 12-day tournament-style format culminates with a championship game next Tuesday, 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Pacific, right here on ESPN.
We just had a shot of Kobe sitting courtside waiting for his game.
I think I was more handsome than his last
I'm going to have to see video evidence of that, Coach.
We know you're doing all that yoga now, George.
No, I'm not now. At 35, I was pretty good.
Oh, okay. George, obviously, one of the teams that was really successful under you was that Seattle Sonics version of Sean Kemp, Gary Payton, that area. You had Nate McMillan on your staff, and you had Dwayne Casey on your staff, some really talented guys. Terry Stotts, who we spoke to a little bit earlier. Yeah. I've been dying to ask you a question for a little while, though.
Tim Gerg,
right? The Godfather.
Bobby Weiss.
Right.
Yeah.
They're great coaches.
Yeah, we could keep going. Tell me about the time, if it really existed, when Gary Payton and Sean Kemp come to your office, and did you challenge them to a fight, man?
I don't think I ever challenged Sean to a fight.
He's too sane for that.
People don't understand.
Was it a conversation?
Sean was 260 pounds of Superman body, and he never lifted weights. Gary and I had our confrontation. There's no question. And if it wasn't probably for, Tim Gerger, he would probably might want to work. But, It took us a year or two, maybe even 3 or 4.
It worked for you guys, though.
I'll be honest with you, Gary Payton is one of, I say, if I had to put 5 players that I've coached and I got in trouble, Gary Payton would be one guy coming to my head.
There you go.
That's where we are.
George Carl, thanks a lot for joining us, man. Good to see you.
Great to see you.
Back after
Always
this,
a joy.
folks.
Thank you, guys.
All right.
The Lexus Performance line is tested the equivalent of up to 24 laps around the world. Experience an unrivaled feel for any road at the Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event. Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer.
Life is forgetting that extra screw, moving your boxes into the pavement, a workout that doesn't quite work out. No matter what happens, the Thumbtack app can help. We'll find you local pros for the job. See their prices and reviews. Even chat with pros right in the app. Download the free app or go to thumbtack.com today.
Get ready for an all-new Auto Trader. Search with all-new speed. Shop with all-new control. Now with the power of Kelley Blue Book Price Advisor on Auto Trader, so you'll know the price is fair. Supercharge your search and find your next car faster than ever. Shop all the cars like never before with the all-new Auto Trader.
18-point lead for the Sacramento Kings as we get started for the fourth quarter and final 10 minutes here. Look at who's on the floor for the Sacramento Kings and the Memphis Grizzlies. Brady Heslop, a denied shooter for the Grizzlies, and Justin Jackson not on the floor right now for the Sacramento Kings, has done most of the heavy lifting at the offensive end. Goodwin missed the layup. Rabb with the follow. Ivan Rabb having a nice night here tonight, Doris.
He sure is. He's been all over the offensive glass. I love his activity. They played through him a little bit in the post. He's really efficient, Mark. 15 points for him.
And nice look. Rabb couldn't finish, but a good feed by Goodwin. Tell you what, it's going to be tough to stick on this roster when you consider Mike Conley and Harrison. But Brandon Goodwin might have a little bit of an opportunity here with the Memphis Grizzlies. He has been one of the pleasant surprises of the early part of training camp and summer league here for Memphis.
I'll tell you this, obviously it'd be a backup point guard to Mike, but the guy can score it. They need him to make great decisions. The only question, though, obviously size, but with the league trending smaller and with his speed, Mark, my goodness.
Why not? Jones got fouled by Deontay Davis. And as for Deontay Davis, he is a third-year player. Big year for him. You know, I was speaking with some people around the league. They say that, you know, he's basically, and the people within Memphis feel he is a poor man's DeAndre Jordan, Clint Capella-like type guy. That's where they want to get him to. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I would say, okay, fair comparison. The one thing he doesn't and hasn't shown yet is that he'll play hard every possession. And whether that's a confidence issue for him, because that's something that some of the people inside their organization have talked to me about, is that just a reflection of maybe he doesn't feel as confident as he needs to be? The reality is, if you're him, though, you got to, and I heard Jeff Van Gundy interviewed, like, throw yourself into everything else except the basketball. Play defense, run the floor hard. You know, be talkative to your teammates. Be all about winning here. Davis needs to do that.
A great point. Wayne Selden with the three ball at the other end for Memphis, trying to bring them back down by 15. They got a jump ball situation coming up. Had a chance to visit a little bit with Vlade Divac and Peja Stojakovic, and saw Vivek Ranadive, the owner, sitting beside his general manager right there courtside for the Sacramento Kings. And they are trying to get Sacramento back to a position where they're competitive in the Western Conference. And they've got some nice young pieces there, Doris. Buddy Hield had very quietly, a pretty good year for the Sacramento Kings. Willie Cauley-Stein coming along a little bit.
He did. You know, obviously you got De'Aaron Fox at the point guard position. If they're going to play with pace, De'Aaron Fox perfectly situated to do that.
Yeah, Fox is, you know what, when we talk about, you know, John Wall, when we talk about Russell Westbrook, some of the fastest guards baseline to baseline in the NBA, he's top 5.
No question.
You may not see him a lot, folks, on television, but get your league pass and check out Fox in Sacramento once in a while. He can ball.
I can't ever look at Peja Stojakovic without thinking about the Sacramento-LA Lakers series and the wide open left corner 3 that he missed.
Yeah.
I don't. It's funny. Peja made how many shots?
So many big shots.
So many big shots.
That was a huge miss.
And it's interesting that little moments in the NBA, the Robert Horry hip check, which leads to several ejections,
Sure.
the fine line between winning and losing.
And the Robert Horry jump shot in that Lakers series on the tap out by one of his teammates against Sacramento.
I'm hoping, and he hasn't looked at his phone, so nobody's texted him that I brought up the missed open 3 from the deep left left corner.
Yeah, it was actually Vlade that tipped it out. They're trying to get the rebound, and Horry made them pay for it. And I'm sure a lot of people up at Sacramento in that brand new arena remember those days now. The old days at Arco, merely history. 13-point lead. Giles with the rebound and fouled. I tell you, Harry Giles has a live body, Doris.
He sure does.
6 points, 11 rebounds for Harry Giles of the Sacramento Kings out of Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And of course, his head coach at Duke was Mike Krzyzewski. His father, Harry Sr., played basketball and football at Winston-Salem State University. Nice move, and that's going to be a goaltend against Davis. The bucket will count by August. Well, the Junior NBA World Championship is the NBA's first ever global youth basketball tournament. The top 13 and 14-year-old boys and girls teams from around the world. The inaugural event at ESPN Wide World of Sports in Orlando, featuring 32 teams that will compete this August on Fox and Fox FS1. To learn more, visit juniornba.com/world championship.
I do think it's a good thing if the NBA starts to have a greater influence on youth basketball, and I think that tournament has got a chance to have great cachet. You put the 3 letters NBA next to anything, you make it a global event where you're inviting teams from around the world. How special does that have an opportunity to be?
Arguably the world's strongest sports brand right now when you speak of international sports. Not just here in America. Brady Heslop from downtown out of Baylor University. His uncle is Jay Triano, assistant coach now with the Charlotte Hornets on James Borrego's staff. Former player at Simon Fraser University in British Columbia. Here's Justin Jackson. Back to August. Nice spin move. And fouled by Selden.
We talked about it. You know, Brady Heslop's going to make it anywhere. He's going to have to do this, right? There's a value in being able to be a knockdown shooter. We've seen that a little bit with Mikhailic, who's had an outstanding summer league, and that's translated well for him.
3-year deal for the first-year rookie out of Kansas. That's what you love about summer league. A guy can make a bunch of shots, make some plays, get some blocks, and the next day, boom, we're reading or hearing from Woj that guy's been signed. Turn buckets into paper. Get looted up here in the summer.
Just don't give it to him until he departs.
August at the foul line for Sacramento. The Sacramento Kings looking at potentially their first win here in Las Vegas. Mason, Jones, August, Jackson, and Giles on the floor for Sacramento. Davis, Selden, Simmons, Heslop on the floor with Goodwin for the Grizzlies, and the rebound. Frank Mason was the lesser heralded rookie in the backcourt in Sacramento, but he had a solid year for the Kings too, backing up De'Aaron Fox, didn't he?
We'll talk a little bit about him on the other side, Mr. Frank Mason, because you hear Bill Self talk about this young man, you'll want to hear what he has to say.
No. Cancel, please.
Being in the know is a good thing. That's why Discover will alert you if your social security number is found on any one of thousands of risky sites.
People are taking steps to fight type 2 diabetes with fitness, food, and Farxiga, the pill that starts with F. Farxiga, along with diet and exercise, helps lower A1C in adults with type 2 diabetes. It's one pill a day, and although it's not a weight loss drug, it may help you lose weight.
Do not take if allergic to Farxiga. If you experience symptoms of a serious allergic reaction such as rash, swelling, difficulty breathing, or swallowing, stop taking and seek medical help right away. Do not take Farxiga if you have severe kidney problems, are on dialysis, or have bladder cancer. Tell your doctor right away if you have blood or red color in your urine, or pain while you urinate. Farxiga can cause serious side effects, including dehydration, genital yeast infections in women and men, serious urinary tract infections, low blood sugar, and kidney problems. Stop taking Farxiga and call your doctor right away if you have signs of ketoacidosis, which is serious and may lead to death.
Ask your doctor about the pill that starts with F, and visit Farxiga.com for savings. If you can't afford your medication, AstraZeneca may be able to help.
Now get 50% off all Domino's pizzas when you order online. 50% off sausage pizzas, handmade pan pizzas, even barbecue banana pepper pizzas. If you're into that, this week only get 50% off the menu price of 34 million pizza combinations at Domino's.com.
That's the team I know. That's the team I know. Way to stay with yourself. It's all good, right? Hey, by the way, I love what you're doing, right? Keep on fighting, okay? Not get out of control, all right? Keep all the discipline, okay? Hey, stay strong. Stay strong, all right?
Great advice from Larry Lewis and Greg Butner, his counterpart for the Memphis Grizzlies. Great opportunity not just for players but coaches to cut their teeth a little bit in their chosen profession on the sidelines here in Las Vegas. Nice play out of the timeout, Doris Burke. Right?
Tremendous execution. I know this. I've talked to a couple of assistant coaches who've talked about things they've done on special situation out of bounds that they've experimented with here and that they put into their system when they get back to the big league. So that one might be put in the arsenal of Sacramento.
Yeah, let's take one more look at it. I mean,
you'll try just about anything. Get a good hard look at what you might have. So a quick hitter off of it, a little down screen for Giles, really quick action, floor is spread because look at where the passer is. That is just great execution.
14-point lead for Sacramento. Toby Simmons padding it a lot with 2 on the clock. Davis with the jump hook right at the end of the shot clock, and a good-looking move by Davis.
That's what we're talking about with that young man. He's young, he's talented, he's just got to play hard, Mark. Convince them you want to be a part of this thing.
10 points and 5 rebounds for Deontay Davis. A guy that I mentioned the mentorship of Vince Carter a couple of years ago, who actually had Davis, then a rookie, sleep at his home. Had him an extra room and said, Rook, you're mine. I'm going to teach you how to do this 20-year NBA career thing. And then recently with Marc Gasol.
That's a remarkable thing about Vince Carter is how well he's taking care of his body and how much of a mentor he could be, Mark. You'll leave the arena of an NBA arena, a couple hours after the game. Guess who's in the weight room? Vince Carter.
40 years old and still doing 360s. If you check social media often enough, you'll see him doing 360 dunks, which is insane for a guy 40 years old. I said it before, Doris. I think both he and Manu Ginobili and Dirk Nowitzki should be at the All-Star game this coming year in Charlotte in some sort of capacity to honor 3 guys who are outstanding ambassadors for basketball.
I love that idea.
At 40 years old.
No question about it. I love the idea.
And they're going to get mad at me because they're probably heading to Cabo or something. 4 minutes to go. Goodwin out top, working against Jackson. Good find to Selden from downtown, and he drills it. Wayne Selden, who missed 44 games last year with a quad and knee injury. His contract, I'm told, guaranteed right before Summer League for $1.5 million for the upcoming year. Remember, Wayne Selden was a starter against San Antonio in the playoffs a couple of years ago for Memphis. He was a late signee by the Grizzlies, had a great G League season, and really fit in late in the year.
But Selden, think about it, Mark. You know, he's plays the position at such a premium, that wing spot. He just needs to find consistency, really.
Got 40% on his threes last year. Last season, he was all-tournament second team in Summer League play here in Las Vegas. Approaching 3 minutes to go. Giles fouled by Davis. And Harry Giles going to go to the free throw line for a pair. Giles with a double-double here tonight. 10 points to go along with 12 rebounds.
Well, you could tell the pride George Karl had that his son is coaching in the NBA, couldn't you?
Sure did.
Right before he left our table, he said he's a good coach.
Kobe going into the family business.
Yes.
Okay, think about the guys that George had on his staff. He was mentioning some guys that I didn't mention. You know, you had Casey, and he had, you know, Nate McMillan on his staff, and Bobby Weiss.
Tim Gergerich.
Yeah, Gerg
is legendary.
Yeah. I mean, you ask NBA players about Gerg, and he's worked out everybody at some point. Selden up top. Rab with a nice catch inside and bucket. Under 3 minutes to go. Time for Memphis to make a move here. 17 points for him. And look at Carter picking up Mason full court. Whistle and a timeout called by the Sacramento Kings with 2:39 to go.
What a stunning variety of 6 meals in mint condition. Look at this new KFC Crispy Kernel Sandwich, the latest of KFC's $5 fill-ups. I reckon everything in this collection costs just $5 each. Congratulations! KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Gatorade. With electrolytes to help you rehydrate so you can keep sweating. Studied, tested, proven. Nothing beats Gatorade.
I wanted to make Angry Orchard Rosé out of my love for rosé wine. We came here to France and found these red-fleshed apples. Our rosé is a little bit less sweet. It has a bright, refreshing taste and a pink rosé hue.
This suit is a chance for someone to see themselves in a new light. This July, bring your gently used professional attire to Men's Warehouse and we'll donate it to men and women re-entering the workforce. And to say thanks, we'll give you 50% off your next purchase. Donate confidence.
It's 99-cent Kids Nights at Golden Corral. Now kids eat and drink for just 99 cents. Under $1. Woo! It's prime time for family time. Come on now. Golden Corral. Your choice, rules.
The greatest of all time.
We will never see another one like it.
On a quest for 9.
It's Federer again.
The championships, Wimbledon. Coverage continues tomorrow with Roger Federer in the gentlemen's quarterfinals on ESPN and ESPN2.
Well, coming up next, we'll have the Lakers and Knicks wrapping up today's play, streaming live on the ESPN app, so you can watch it anywhere. 12-day tournament-style format culminates with the championship game next Tuesday, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific on ESPN. Can those Lakers repeat as NBA Summer League champions? A couple of years ago, it was the Sacramento Kings that had the championship belt raised over their collective heads. 13-point lead. Looking forward to seeing Kevin Knox in our next game here at Doris Burke. He has been showing really great flashes of brilliance in Las Vegas.
Him at the 4, Porzingis perhaps at the 5. Could be good.
Yeah. That's going to be a shot clock violation against the Sacramento Kings. New York Knicks with the rebuild in full swing right now. General Manager Scott Perry trying to get it done there in New York. Has a great staff of people around him. Steve Mills, Harold Ellis in their personnel department. And David Fizdale, the Knicks' new head coach, whistling a foul underneath. David Fizdale certainly we talk about Coach Appreciation Day. Fizz will be the first one to tell you about appreciating as a coach his days with the Miami Heat and some of the things that he learned with Pat Riley and his head coach at the time, Eric Spoelstra, winning a couple of championships there with Miami. Brown knocks down the first.
He was my go-to guy in the finals, boy. I needed some information. That was my guy. I haunted him at halftime.
Yeah. Hey, we had him on the payroll for a wonderfully brief moment here at ESPN, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
We had to know that it wasn't going to last long, though. As good as he is on the sidelines. 15-point lead. Carter back out to Selden with the baseline jump shot. Good.
He's looked really good.
Yeah. One of those 11 Kansas guys here at Summer League. Another Kansas guy bringing it up, Frank Mason. Speaking of Coach Appreciation Day, we had Bill Self visit us a couple of days ago, the Kansas head coach. He of his 14 consecutive conference championships.
Naismith Hall of Famer, recent inductee.
1:20 to go. You know, speaking of Coach Appreciation Day, I think about a lot of the coaches that I appreciate in the coaching business, Doris. I think back to the late, great Chuck Daly, who treated me as media royalty as a 24-year-old young reporter from Toronto at the time, driving down to NBA games in Detroit before the Raptors were even a thought or on the blueprint.
Wow.
Chuck Daly and the late Matt Dobeck, the media relations director at the time,
Matt, of course,
would always have tons of time for me, especially Chuck. He'd always make sure his hair was right, of course.
It looked great.
And his suit.
Suits were on point.
He was $100 grand all the time. But Chuck Daly always made sure that I had a front row seat. So, Chuck, I know you're up there listening right now, and much love to you on Coach Appreciation Day. One of the greats ever to do it on the sidelines, Chuck Daly. 1 minute to go. Mason from deep knocks down to 3. And the Sacramento Kings are going to get their first win of Summer League play as we start the tournament format tomorrow. Good win from deep.
I look forward to seeing how they see this thing, Mark Jones.
Yeah. Nice backdoor cut and dime by Mason. Boy, Frank Mason playing with a lot of poise out here. That pass to Brown for the bucket.
He is the consummate point guard. You want to talk about toughness? Frank Mason embodies it.
Yeah. You were talking about great coaches. I got to give a shout out to Jack Ramsey, a guy who I worked with at ESPN for several years on the NBA Today show. So many great coaches to speak of on Coach Appreciation Day here in Las Vegas. And the final score here, Sacramento winning it 94-80. The Kings improved to 1-2. Memphis falling to 1-2. And there might be a little bit of time left on the clock still.
1.2 seconds on the clock. Plenty of time to get a shot up, Mark.
Yeah. There we go. Now it's final, 94-80. Justin Jackson with 20 points on 8 of 13. And Harry Giles contributing as well. He was active at both ends.
You see that nice moment shared between Wayne Selden and Frank Mason III, two Kansas young men.
Yes, sir.
A little bit of camaraderie.
And a good performance as well on the other side of the ledger. Memphis Grizzlies getting good production from Ivan Rabb, who had 17 points. Wayne Selden equaling that for the Memphis Grizzlies. A couple of teams looking up and looking to get things moving in the right direction. Both in the Western Conference, where things obviously hyper competitive. And Golden State kind of looking at the rest of the world right now. And that's just the way it is. Excellence can be a little bit polarizing.
Yes, it can. I like that Steve Kerr said he heard crickets from his colleagues after DeMarcus signing.
Yeah, he
Classic.
sure did. Probably still waiting. Remember the second half of our doubleheader tonight, featuring the New York Knicks and the Los Angeles Lakers. Lakers trying to stay unbeaten and repeat as Summer League champions. Josh Hart been one of their potent scorers. Mikhailuk, one of their rookies that's been very impressive. And don't forget about Kevin Knox, trying to flip those boos into cheers in New York. It wasn't as loud around.